Good evening. Oh, look how pale my hands are. Probably should have painted those. For those of you that follow me on other social media, you guys know that I just got back from New York, New York. I was actually out there on a project, and this project was like super different from what I usually do on my channel, like Monsters and Creatures, and I was actually there for a fashion event. You know, like New York Fashion Week, like fashion event. And I was there behind the scenes doing some makeup consults as well as filming, doing interviews, and all this like really awesome stuff. And I got to follow a couple of the designers, and one of them was actually nice enough to give me a piece of her fabric. I feel so special. While I was busy running around with the camera like an absolute madman following this woman around, I asked her if it'd be cool with her to do like a body paint of one of her designs, and she was totally cool with it. And I was like, okay, this is gonna work out absolutely perfect, because I decided to stick with like her colors and then also her flowers and interpret them in a more realistic type flower. All products do say listed somewhere around the video. Also, don't forget to follow me on other social media, which will be listed in the description below. And if you guys want to check out Michelle Kim, which is the designer of this pattern, you can check out her stuff in the description below as well. I'm running out of breath. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to contact me. I'm starting off by painting the first flower around my eye using pink body paint and the Made You Look eyeshadow brush. And I tried to reference like a roundish type flower, since the actual flower in the candy bouquet is a literal circle. And by the end of painting this flower on, it pretty much just looks like a blob. To separate the petals on each feather, this is a flower, this is not a feather. To separate each petals on this flower, I'm going in with a darker pink body paint and just outlining the edges. This flower has white coming from the middle, so I'm going in and adding some white highlights to each petal. Once that's all on, and then going back in with my brush and blending that in. I'm not being too precise with blending out my paint at this moment because I want it to have more of like a watercolor feel to it. To create the center of the flower, I'm using some light blue body paint and outlining that with some darker blue body paint. And then I'm kind of blending that all together. To finish up his flower, I'm going in with an angled brush and red eyeshadow, and once again kind of outlining the petals, but more so creating some shading and depth. Lex says about depth in every video, but that's what body painting is. Kind of, but it helps. The next flower is more of like a tan color. You can actually use foundation for this one, and I'm just creating the same general shape of the previous flower. Because this flower on the pattern is just tan and white, I didn't want to go too crazy with the shading. So I went ahead and shaded it with a very orange blush. Just like the pink one, I'm going to be adding some white highlights to the flower because it has white in it. With my hairline being right there, I'm not exactly be able to fit the next flower. So I'm just using light blue as a base as well as dark blue for some shading, just to give it appearance that there is a flower right up there. The next flower is just a smaller version of the tan one with a blue center. The pink flower on the pattern, I interpreted this as a tulip. So I'm painting a giant tulip on my cheek, using light blue body paints and an eyeshadow brush. Once again, giant blob. To shade the petals, I'm using blue eyeshadow, and I'm shading the left and right petals first, then moving on to what would be the center and then the back 3 petals. I'm then touching up these details using a darker blue eyeshadow. Because Michelle Kim had a pink spot on this flower, I really wanted to incorporate this in the flower itself. So I'm using hot pink body paint and filling in the center of that flower, and then going in with pink eyeshadow, and then going in with purple eyeshadow on the bottom. Just like the other flowers, I'm also going in and adding some white highlights using white body paint. Michelle's leaves are actually a teal color, so I want to stick with that color body paint, and the leaves go around this orange flower, as well as the blue tulip. To shade Leaves, I'm using green eyeshadow and then also a darker green eyeshadow. Repeat everything that you did on your face on your chest on the opposite side. On my shoulder is also an extra flower, which is a dark pink flower with a little bit of shading as well as white highlights. As well as a darker blue flower right below that with a light blue center. Paint the rest of yourself with black body paint. I'm using for the larger areas a foundation brush and for the smaller areas like an eyeshadow brush or a detail brush.